second.
Got a face for radio, you know?
Oh, stop it.
We're live.
Okay, good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Allegheny County IDA meeting. We do have some guests this morning. I'm sorry for my voice. We will be having an executive session early on in the meeting. So we welcome you all to come. I am Judy Hopkins. I'd like the room to go around and introduce themselves, please. And then we'll get to Rich. Go ahead, Randy.
I'm Randy Shaler, I'm Vice Chair of the Board.
I'm Doug Frank, I'm the Treasurer of the Board.
Barb Benjamin, Operations Director, IDA.
Craig Clark, the Executive Director.
Shall we introduce?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Christina DeGroff, Regional Sales Manager of Complete Payroll.
Benjamin Cohen, Rochester County Executive of Complete Payroll.
Tim Boyd, yes, Allegheny County.
And on the screen is Rich Voice. Rich?
Yeah, Rich Ewell, and I'm a board member, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. And I understand that John will be joining us later. So the first item on our agenda is the approval of minutes. So I would maintain a motion for that and any discussion.
I move we accept the minutes.
I'll second, Judy.
Thank you. And moved and seconded to accept the minutes as written. Do we have any questions about them? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. That's passed. We're gonna move right into our guest presentation today. So if you'd like to tell us why you're here and go ahead and present, we'd appreciate it. So again, your names are
Christina DeGroff.
Christina and
Benjamin Cohen. Yeah, thank you for having us. We're really happy to be here and happy to work with Barb. Thanks so much. So we're here to offer a proposal and present a proposal to become your new payroll provider. Very exciting stuff. I'm sure you're all very excited.
well, we don't get paid. So. Just saying.
No, again, thanks for having us. So, Barb, we spoke a couple times and exchanged some emails, and so I guess at this point, for everyone's benefit, we'll go through this proposal, and please chime in if you have any questions along the way. Let's jump right in. So, we're from Complete Payroll, headquartered in Perry, New York. Not unlike Angelica, very, very similar. Small town, homegrown.
Yeah.
Do we all know Barry?
Everyone knows Perry?
Yeah.
The blazing metropolis that it is.
Yes. So similar roots, for sure. It's family owned and operated, always has been. And you really get that small town feel. Our clients enjoy that. That's kind of why we're a good fit for the IDA. Some benefits of working with a small town company like ours, a single point of contact always. You benefit from not having to call a 1-800 number and speak to someone different every time. You get to work with people who truly get to know your business and understand what the organization is about, and what your needs are currently and as they evolve. You'll have that single point of contact during implementation as we transition your payroll to us, hopefully. And then you'll have a single point of contact after implementation is complete with a customer service representative. And that's really the strength, the bones of our company, is what we've invested into our transition team, our implementation team, and our customer service team. They have an average tenure of, I think it's 10 years.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So they've been with us for a long time. We don't have a lot of turnover in that department at all, which is great. think we retained everyone through COVID, which was
Yep.
very unique.
Yep.
There were a lot of layoffs for a lot of other companies during that time. So again, being small town, you'll feel that as you interact with us, as you interact with the implementation team, the customer service team.
Our
Your
tax department.
Yeah.
Because that's another major concern when you start to run payroll versus having a 1099 employee. It's really that who's going to help support you when tax notices come in, who's going to navigate those quarterly tax filings. So we do have a pretty crackerjack tax team too.
Yeah, and for your organization, I know that's very important. No hidden fees. It's not a lot of fine print. You won't get hit with surprise increases or hidden fees along the way. All of the costs are in the proposal. No annoying upsell phone calls, particularly for you, Barb. A lot of competitors offer a lot of different services, and so do we, but we don't bug you about them. But we are truly a service-led firm, highly customizable solutions. We tailor a lot of our solutions to every one of our clients. So for your organization, as your needs evolve, we'll be very flexible to accommodate those. Any questions so far?
Also, we've been in operation for 33 years. We do have about 2,300 accounts. We work with businesses nationwide. And though we are from Perry, a small town, we do have about 75 employees right now. So we are a major employer in the area. We believe in supporting the community that we originated in. So probably similar to
These
you.
33 people are in Western New York.
So 75 employees, they are all in New York. So Ben and myself, I'm out of Livonia, he's out of Rochester, but I would say primarily our operations team, which is tax, customer service, finance, those are all local to Perry.
Who was the founder, and is it still, is the founder still an owner?
So Rick Fish Sr. is the founder. His sons, Austin and Rick Fish Jr., took over the company about 10 years ago from him. One sits as the CEO, one is the COO, and Dad is still chairman of the board, so still very involved in the company. The brothers are in the business every day. I work with Austin directly. He's on my speed dial. He loves it when I send him questions, but very involved still in the company itself. Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions? Awesome, great. We can dive into the package, the service package that we would recommend, just kind of starting out on the payroll adventure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, based on the conversation that Barb and I had, this is our recommendation. It's called our Complete Integration Package. Of course, it includes comprehensive payroll and tax service. We handle all of that for you. Good morning.
Morning, sorry I'm late.
That's all right. You haven't missed much. We've just been
Just
rambling
started.
on.
Perfect timing, actually.
Thank you. Thank you.
To get you a little bit up to speed, I'm Ben Cohen. This is Christina DeGroff. We're from Complete Payroll. We've been working and conversing with Barb to come in, and she invited us to deliver this proposal and present it to the board. Okay, so we would love to be your new payroll provider.
Since we don't have one.
Yes.
Exactly. So yeah, based on our conversation, comprehensive payroll processing, tax service, virtual reports that are customizable. So however you would like to view things or you need to view things, we can build out reports to your specifications. Our adaptive employee experience portal, most payroll companies have a portal now for employees to log into. They can see their information, they can update their information as it pertains to their personal, like their address, but also direct deposit accounts if they want to change their accounts, and view their W-2s and pay stubs and all that fun stuff. Direct deposit, of course. Our labor law posters, we talked about that too. Lovely being in New York State. It's not just the physical posters now, it's also virtual posters that your employees will need access to. So we'll make sure you're compliant in that. Workers' compensation, we will facilitate the upload of that as well. Your employees will be able to submit time off requests for your approval seamlessly in their portal as well. That process is easy to oversee. I don't think, did we talk about the like QuickBooks or your CPA
Not really.
download? I didn't think we talked about that either. Retirement, we did talk about that. I remember that specifically. So that reporting will be included in this package as well.
And we are on the list of recommended providers that New York State Retirement works with. There are a lot of rules around the NISLR system and how things are reported. We have a lot of clients that are municipalities that would be using the same platform. And I know you were going to do some digging into that as well. But we are able to support that both certification process and then the reporting following that approval. So I think that is an area that we shine in.
Yeah, and I have submitted an application.
Oh, great. Okay, perfect.
Also with this package, you have an HR support center. In New York State, it feels like legislation changes every week, if not every day. So staying up to date on the different changes that pertain to your organization, very, very important. And our HR support center will help with that. And easy to make changes to an employee handbook, for example, as changes come down, like the I-9 was a good example, changes to the I-9 in New York State. All of that will be kind of at your fingertips, and you'll be able to get notifications and just kind of stay up to date on everything. And finally, simple and seamless employee onboarding and offboarding.
We hope not the offboarding part. We hope we never have to go through that. But
Right. But in the event that you do, it definitely makes it a little bit easier to form a checklist and make things uniform and structured so that as you offboard an employee, it's done the same way consistently every time. You don't forget anything, like if they have keys to the building or whatever that may be. Any questions on what's included in the proposal that we're presenting?
I had a question about workers' comp. What company or companies do you use for your workers' comp?
yeah, so we are actually, that's right. We are actually broker neutral. So we work with quite a few local agencies. We tend to leave it up to our clients, right? Because this is going to be a partnership that's going to support you. We'd love to let you make that decision on who you're, communicating well with, who you feel is going to offer you the best service. And then on the back end, our software can facilitate that communication, that report generation, and we can send that to most of the major insurance carriers. So regardless of whom that agent quotes you with, we should be able to facilitate a reporting process with them. Of course, we're happy to make recommendations for an agency, but certainly if you already have insurances in place,
Judy Clark.
we could, definitely work with whomever your partners are already.
So you don't have an insurance department or licensed insurance agents working for you. You just use local brokers and then you facilitate the payments,
Yep. Yeah, so our director of finance.
2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah, our director of finance actually
You
is
answered my
licensed. He is a licensed agent, but again, we rely a lot on our partnerships, right? Kind of supporting that community. We could write a policy if we wanted to. It's better to let you deal with experts, right? We're experts in payroll. They're experts in insurance. But yes, we're not an umbrella company. We don't want to take over the world one line at a time. We just want to be really good at payroll and be really supportive in that side. So.
Have you suffered any cyber attacks?
Oh,
Your
no.
company?
No, no. So we do have an agency that comes in and does an independent audit every year. It's called the SOC2 audit. I'm happy to share those results with you. We do have bank level security on our website. We also have our software that we utilize is called iSolved. So we're a service bureau of the iSolved software. They also have independent audits. They have a security center website that we'd be happy to share if you'd like to scope out all of their certifications. But it's pretty locked down. As you can imagine, we deal with a lot of personal information. So that's always kind of at the forefront of our mind. We also do have training in place. Our customer service team has ongoing training on how to catch things that seem a little bit odd. And we've actually helped quite a few of our clients avoid situations where maybe somebody's email has gotten hacked, a client request, and let's say an employee has sent an email to their payroll contact saying, hey, I need to change this account ASAP, right? We've actually pushed back a little bit to the payroll contact and said, you know what, this seems a little bit fishy. Maybe you should investigate this situation. So not only are we looking for fraud on our side, but we're helping our clients navigate the potential frauds that could happen on their side too.
Yeah, top to bottom
Yep.
in our organization, we have ongoing training to avoid that situation. I just did one yesterday, actually. And our IT director is tenacious.
Carl.
Yeah, Carl's great. Make sure that we're safe and protected.
From a logistical standpoint, do you print and ship checks and pay stubs, or do you use electronic?
We have printers in our headquarters in Perry. So we print locally and ship locally. But we also do offer the direct deposit service as well. So we can do a combination,
But even if there's direct deposit, there's a stub that goes with it.
we could do that. So typically, most of our clients are trying to get away from paper. Most employees get that paper stub and they could care less, it just goes in the trash. So that's why in the employee portal, there's always access to those digital stubs. They can be downloaded and printed as a PDF. If a client requests it, however, we're happy to print paper stubs. There would just be a shipping fee to get you those paper copies, right? And that's usually why there's a push for most employers to say, no, let's not pay for the shipping. You have access. You'd also have access to the stubs through your administrator portal. So you could always print those off here in-house too if you wanted to.
Be a little cheaper. You won't have to pay for shipping.
What do you use for shipping?
So we use USPS. We also have UPS.
Always recommend UPS.
I have a question. Is your cost based on the number of employees or how's it based?
Yes, yep. So it's the number of active employees in the system. So it could go up, it could go down, right? So if you start at 3, you drop down to 2, pricing is going to adjust accordingly. And then the other component to that pricing is frequency of pay. So I know we were questioning whether it would be weekly or bi-weekly. The number of times we touch a payroll in the year dictates our pricing, right? So if we're processing payroll weekly, we're touching your account 52 times. If we're processing bi-weekly, it's only 26. So typically bi-weekly payrolls are a little cheaper for you as the employer, in addition to, again, that employee count kind of dictating that as well.
So I'd like to ask Barb, how would this make your life different?
I would basically just go from weekly to bi-weekly pay.
Okay.
That's what because I don't get a pay stub now.
Okay, so all of the services that this company is offering are services that you do now, or we just don't do?
And we don't do any of this. So basically Walker's does, and we pay the bills from Walker's is what else we do.
Okay.
So it'll be a little different on the processing side, but.
Right.
Okay.
So you wouldn't have any bills from Walker. You would just end up having to pay through them.
Okay.
And they would download, I would guess, through QuickBooks, right?
Probably
So you use QuickBooks Online or desktop?
desktop.
So we would create a general ledger report for you. You could download that into an Excel file and then import it into your desktop. We do have a direct integration with QuickBooks Online, so that middle step would be gone if it was the online version, but for a desktop, you could definitely import using that CSV file.
Again, back to the logistics. We have a payroll of $1,000 a week.
Mhm.
So at the end of the week, pull the trigger on that $1,000, right? And the deposit needs to come your way.
Yep.
Walk us through that if you would.
Sure, absolutely. So our ask is that payrolls are processed 2 days prior to your payday. So let's say it's a Friday payday. We would want you to have your payroll submitted to us on Wednesday. We would present you with reports. One of those reports is your payroll summary report, right? So it will tell you exactly how much money is going towards tax liabilities, to your wages, to our invoice fees. Gets you a nice number for what needs to be in the bank account. And then we would impound those funds on that Wednesday. Okay. So you could process your payroll on a Monday or a Tuesday. Gives you a little wiggle room to manage your accounts if that's a little easier to get that summary of cost and then have a couple days to move whatever you need to, or at least know that it's coming. But we do the impound automatically on our end. So we would have access to your bank account. So there's no check writing to us or anything like that. In addition to moving the fund or the wages, right? So if we were doing a direct deposit, we'd pull that money out of your account, send it to Barb's. We also hold on to the tax liabilities at that same time. Because when it comes time for us to remit those.
Both tax.
Yes, yeah, so IRS and New York State, anything that would be payroll tax liabilities is our realm.
No, I'm thinking of the FICA also.
Oh, yeah, yep.
Yep,
Exactly, yep, that's all part of it, yep. And so that way, when it comes time for us to file your quarterly taxes, also there are different frequencies that those payroll tax liabilities are due. We take care of all of that. But the reason why we pull them each payroll is because we want to make sure we have that amount that's going to be due so that nobody's getting in trouble, no notices are coming. But so you would see all of that, including our invoice fees, debited on that Wednesday before a Friday payroll. Did that help?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yeah, do you do payroll services for any other firms in Allegheny County?
Yeah,
Yeah.
quite a few.
Yeah. If you would like some references, we can track some down. We'll just have to reach out to them and make sure it's okay to share their information. But happily, we could provide some references.
Yeah, we had 2 or 3 different organizations we were looking at, and this organization was the most responsive by far.
Oh, we pride
I
ourselves
wanted
on
to
that.
tell you that.
Yes,
That's why they're here.
Yeah.
And in fact, it's interesting that you say that. We like to share our client response policy as well. Like we probably, did we email it
We
to
did.
Barb? Yeah.
Yeah.
We have nothing to hide, right? We pride ourselves on our customer service. It's how we've grown organically throughout the years. We have clients refer to us all the time. And part of that is because we hold ourselves to high standard. And it's not just us saying that. That's why we like to provide that client response policy, because we have those standards set, and it's nice for you to see those expectations as well, right? And we think that in the sales side, we're setting those expectations. So if we're asking our customer service team to respond really quickly, but on the sales side, we're like, well, we'll get to you when we get to you, right? That's not a great look for us as a company either. So, on both sides of the house, sales and operations, we really have high expectations for ourselves.
You want to add to that, Barb? So you want to do all the work.
Not really. I just talked to another company and they weren't very forthcoming with information or getting back to me. So.
Sorry to hear that.
And I think, maybe another piece of that is that we work with business sizes of all natures, right? So like 1 employee S Corps. Our largest employer has 3,300 employees, right? But again, it's our intention that whether you have 1 employee or 3,300, that you feel the same support from our customer service team. We do cap our customer service reps at 150 accounts. Industry standard is about 600. Right now, we're riding around 100 accounts per customer service rep. So again, just kind of speaking to, sometimes it pays to be a local business in that we're not answering to shareholders, we're answering to our clients. And we make those decisions based on that.
The
Go ahead.
the summary cost, how does this compare to your competition?
So book value, we're very, very competitive. We're very transparent. We probably gave you too much information. But we don't like to hide fees, right? So when we sent this over to Barb, in the email, we spelled out every additional thing that you would see, right? Like there are things like new hire reporting, whereas sometimes you might be presented with a cost, but there's all these other things that will just keep coming and they'll just show up and surprise you one day. And we definitely don't ever want to do that. So very, very competitive book value. We do not discount. We don't have to discount. The value of our service is there and the pricing is fair. And I think sometimes you'll find, our competitors, others in the industry, they do tend to set their base pricing very high so that they come in and say like, hey, here's your 50% discount that you have for 3 months, which then will be gone. So again, just kind of being very transparent in all facets of our business. Pricing is one of them.
We don't want it to feel like buying a car.
Yep.
So. As you can see on the summary of costs, we talked to Barb about weekly versus bi-weekly pay. I wanted to illustrate the difference in cost associated with each of those options. There is a one-time setup fee of $350. That upfront fee helps our implementation team.
Is that for the account one time or is that per employee?
Nope, that is just for the account one time.
Yeah.
Yep, you won't see that again.
Yep.
After that, as you can see, there's a bit of a difference between the weekly and the bi-weekly. So at this point, I think, Bart, you said bi-weekly is where you want to go.
I think that's where we were thinking.
So hopefully that makes sense.
Is that bi-weekly or weekly, is that per employee or per the whole payroll?
Well, that's the whole
The
payroll.
whole payroll,
Yep.
so you can do that for 100 people, you can still.
No, because remember, we've got that per employee. I saw what you did there.
Checking.
Yeah. So I believe we quoted 3 employees in this one,
Correct.
correct?
Okay.
Right
Yeah.
now, there's 2, there'll be a third in the
Yep.
year.
Yeah, so we kind of wanted to give you your high-end expectation, right? Once you have that third person on board, that would be the per payroll fee for 3 employees,
Not 300.
not 300.
Thanks for clarifying that. I know we're being
I mean, I'd
recorded.
love to see you guys get to 300.
Yeah, right.
No.
Right?
That'll,
We'll help you grow.
that'll be 3.
There you
Barb would not like to see that probably.
Maybe. What other questions? Anything else? We're open books. Ask away.
I'm familiar with Karen. Where in Barry are you located? Are you on Main Street? Or
Yes, we're like right outside of town. We're kind of up on this little hill.
way toward Rochester? Oh,
Yes.
Going
Yeah.
out
Yeah.
that way?
Mhm.
Okay.
Been there for a long time. We just remodeled our headquarters. Long overdue. It's beautiful. You just stop in and say hi sometimes.
Any other questions?
So are one of you going to be our direct representative to Barb?
So she'll have a customer service rep paired up with her. They don't give us keys to the
Someone other
kingdom.
than you guys.
So like,
Okay.
you don't want me doing your payroll.
No,
I will tell you about how to do it, but you don't want me to do it.
we'll have someone smart.
Somebody smart. But Ben will be your account manager, right? So we like to always kind of stick with our accounts. It's just another phone a friend option, right? But the everyday payroll stuff, you'd want to run through customer service. If you need to escalate anything, Ben or myself, I'm happy to help too. But he'll be your guy. So.
Yep. So as things come up, I'll definitely be here to support you and help you with your relationship with your customer service representative. And if you ever have any questions or want to bounce things off me, like maybe you want to start with a new way to punch in and out or schedule as you add a couple of employees, I'll be happy with that.
You've been very helpful so far.
Thanks.
Good.
I appreciate that.
There's definitely an education piece to the meetings that we have. I mean, there's a lot of ins and outs to payroll in New York. So we get to have fun though.
Well, it's educational for me too. Every time I get to meet with someone and learn about their organization or their business, it's an opportunity for me to take something away too. So,
Do you work with any other IPAs?
it's a good question.
I don't remember off the top of my head. I can look. Yeah, I don't mind looking. We have a lot of accounts, so I sometimes don't remember. Plus, I'm old now, so my mind's not working as it used to. But
It's all relative, right, Jen?
I actually think Wyoming County is the one that recommended.
Yeah, they are.
IDA.
Yeah, that's where we got the name.
There you go. I guess
From
there's
Jim
an answer for you.
Pierce.
But we probably have more. I'll get you some more.
Yeah, it was
details.
Jim Pierce, because obviously they're in Wyoming County, so.
Do you have business cards? that you'd like to leave with us?
Sure, we
Absolutely.
could. I don't know if this was, payroll discussion to kick off a meeting. That's kind of rough, but.
It won't take long to set this up, I wouldn't think, right? Pretty straightforward.
So typically for an account this size, I would say probably about 2 weeks
Okay,
would be a
that's fine.
nice timeline for us.
Okay.
Just because,
Oh.
we gotta get everything built in.
No, I know,
Oh,
Yeah.
just asking.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't see it. There's two here. So, Bruce, do you have any other questions?
No.
Okay. Okay, so obviously we'll need to make a decision. I don't anticipate, we're not asking for that today, right?
We are,
We are, right now.
not right now, because
I was about to say,
We can let you.
we can vote
Okay.
too.
Okay.
Because we're
No.
we're at the table.
well, we
So,
have to make one of two decisions, either go with them or continue with Walker for a time. We only have
Okay.
two options.
we're at the
Yeah.
door. Okay. Okay,
If there aren't any more questions, next steps, obviously take your time today and
Sure.
discuss it. And Barb, if you want to just let me know.
Okay. Or if you have follow-up questions.
Yeah, if you have
We'll
follow-up.
have
questions,
phones, so just shoot them our way and we can try to get back to you.
Sure.
Yeah,
while you're
feel free to
discussing.
give me a call. But if you decide to move forward, we'll talk about what those next steps will be.
Okay,
All right.
Thanks, guys. It was
Yeah.
so nice
and
meeting
thank you for coming.
Thank
Yeah, of
you.
course.
Thanks for having
We
us.
love to come in person to things. We get so excited about
Well,
it.
it's nice because it's not very far away either.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Glad
yeah.
to see
And we're gonna
you.
make a day of it. We're gonna just wander around
Yeah.
here. We've
Well,
got some
especially
other
after-
stuff to make.
After COVID, it's nice to meet in person.
Cuba cheese.
We missed that.
Cuba
Yeah.
cheese sounds good.
Yeah. Everybody
Yeah.
stops
Plug
at
in.
Cuba cheese.
I was gonna say they got some sales going on
Yeah,
right now
right.
too.
I mean, secretly, that's why I love to go in
Texas.
person in case I get like a tour or somebody feeds me.
Yeah, we
something.
might need our way around town. Go to the Three Bums or
Yeah.
what is it, the American Hotel?
Yeah,
Yes.
they're both
American
pretty
Hotel.
good.
Yeah.
I
So good.
I
Back up
recommend
and
the
running.
Yeah, they're
Valley
back up.
Bread and
Yeah.
Bounty for coffee and Fillmore.
Attorney was talking about,
Yeah.
Terry, remember when Champion was made there? You're too young
We used
for
to
that,
go up
right?
there all the
That's
time.
right.
Champion outlet
The
for
Champion
t-shirts.
wear
I
was
feel
made
like
in Terry.
Champion is maybe the facility that we're right next to.
The factory.
So, where,
Drive right to it.
once again,
Yeah.
Nutwater, their factory is,
Yeah.
that's where our headquarters is,
Okay.
right down.
When-
Okay.
Yeah,
Driveways down.
yeah, they are, here in the Champion area.
Yeah, Champion outlet.
All right, good.
Sorry?
Can you call that guy? He's involved with the Walsall Country Club and they're looking for a payroll service.
Really?
I should come hang out with you guys more often.
Yeah. Thank you. I
And they have more
appreciate
than two.
So we get a finder's fee.
Oh, yeah.
There-
For a country
actually,
club, I hope so.
we do have a rewards program for our clients. If you do refer, we actually give you an invoice credit. So.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah,
Perfect.
You're
thank you.
Have a good day.
Thanks
Bye, guys.
again.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Bye.
thanks for coming.
Okay,
Yeah, I forgot that Jim Pierce is the one that did recommend it.
Yeah.
They've been using it for a long time, so. It would make sense, because
Yeah,
they're
right, right
Wyoming
there.
County.
okay. Thank you for the presentation. Next on our order of business is the executive session. Is that where you want us to go at this point? Rich?
Sure.
No, it's just
Craig,
Craig.
that's fine.
Okay, and we do have another guest. Tim is here. Will Tim be staying for part of that?
We probably ought to talk before and then bring him
Before.
back in.
Sorry for wasting
That's okay.
your time. Okay. Thank you, Jim.
We have to
I'd like to make a motion, we go into executive session.
Thank you, Rich.
Second.
Thank you, John. Okay, All right, thank you. Moved and seconded that we come out of executive session. All in favor, aye? Okay.
We're not ready
no.
But you're welcome to come back in. Still got business. There you go, we're ready.
Okay, I believe we need to back up and approve our financials. Come on in, Oakley, you don't have to sit out and side with the bad boys anymore. Take a look at the financials, please, and somebody needs to make a motion to approve that. Thank you, Doug.
Second.
Thank you, John. Any questions or discussion about the financials? The abstract report specifically. If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, banking and financial summary. We need a motion on that.
So moved.
Thank you, Randy.
Second.
Second, John, thank you. Any questions or discussions about that? If not, all in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, and finally, the CDs reports.
Okay, the 6-month CD for March, it was $2,054.90. For a year-to-date total, $4,498.74. On the 12-month CD, March was $1,947.61, and year-to-date is $4,264.28.
Hey, Barb, we don't receive a check for that amount, right? It's just added to the value of the CD when it finally gets cashed in someday.
I have it on QuickBooks and enter it monthly as it accrues.
But it's accrual, you're right.
Just keeps building.
Right, Rich?
Yeah.
Not money to spend, but it will be.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
No,
So I don't really know if we need a report on it every month is my point. It's up to the board. We agree or disagree. It's just one more thing for board Barb to have to report on. It's just kind of like a savings account that gets interest. We don't report the interest on our savings account every month. I don't think, special in a special way like this.
Yeah, we could just add it to the monthly report so everybody can see it, so it's still in there.
Okay. I was gonna say every 6 months is probably fine too.
Okay.
Okay, moving along then, building maintenance report.
We have a quote to get rid of some ants and some mice, and it's, how much is it, Barb? The one from, we want to use the one that, we got 2 quotes, but the lower quote.
Through Orkin, it's $550. And they've got the service will be 2 months from April to September each year. And it says 275 times 2, so we're thinking it's 275 per building.
It's
And
reasonable, it's what we paid
Yeah.
before, and it's that time of year that the ant/mice problem happens, and it's not a lot of money, but if we just bring it forward to the board, so that you know.
And this is supposed to be around the perimeter of the building too,
Mhm.
where
When do
Steve's
we
already
expect
put.
to close?
What's that?
When do we expect to close? And make it somebody else's problem.
Right.
Well, that's why we're looking at Orkin versus Terminix.
But we still want the mice and the ants to go away, so it's only
Yeah.
$275.
So is this a monthly contract then?
No.
Linda?
No.
No, it's only a total of $500. It's not a big
Okay.
deal. We're just letting the board know unless there's an objection, we'll move forward.
Okay. Do we need the go-ahead to do that?
I just need to know if there's an objection not to go forward.
Get rid of the mice.
Yeah. But we're just informing the board any maintenance issues. We try to let you know when we're doing them. That's all. It's small enough, I don't think it needs a full resolution.
I'll
Okay.
just let Orkin know.
Okay, anything else on building maintenance?
No,
Will we continue to have reports and after 6 months or so?
What's that?
Will we continue to get building maintenance reports after
Won't be our
6 months
building.
or so?
Won't be our
That's my
building.
question.
No.
I don't know about public.
We can still tell you if there's a problem with our offices, but we're not gonna tell you about the building.
So we just complain to somebody else. Okay, all right, then, on to the action items, presentation. Seems like we talked about this already today. I'm trying to remember if
Well, we should
we need to
decide
actually
to,
approve
we
it.
should actually approve
Um,
going with payroll services. We don't have an action item on it because I didn't know if we would today.
Okay, for the record and any public that might be watching, we have had a presentation on payroll services today, and we will be voting on it.
Moving
At
forward
this
with payroll
point, moving forward.
services, yeah.
We would need a motion on this, please. Doug,
I'll make the motion.
thank you. Thank you, John. I
Second.
thought Oakley was raising a hand over there. I was gonna say, sorry, Oakley, you can't do that. Much of you are familiar with it. Okay, moved and seconded then that we accept the payroll services from the Complete Payroll Company. Sorry for my voice. And have that start immediately. Any discussion? Okay, we'll vote on that. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Okay, Rich, are you abstaining?
I'm gonna oppose.
Okay. Okay, one opposed? Okay, and John is abstaining, right? Or no?
What's that, aye?
Oh, you said, I'm sorry, couldn't hear. Okay. We need to discuss the Wellsville Business Park, and there's a resolution to approve.
There's a approving resolution in here, and it correctly has the estimated amount of tax exemptions, property tax exemptions. As Randy and others noted at the last public hearing, it was incorrectly stated at $340,000, of which both myself and Nadine used what was in the application. That was incorrect, and the actual number is $4,380.87, $877. So it's off by $100,000.
Okay, and that is now included.
It's now included in the resolution. And as I mentioned to a couple board members in the future, I'll make sure that those numbers are not only in a spreadsheet, but I'll make sure they're sent out to the board ahead of time so we know what the actual numbers are.
Okay, this is a roll call vote. So if we're ready to vote, we will vote and roll call. Judy Hopkins votes yes.
Did we do did we do a first and second on this yet?
Oh,
No.
I'm sorry.
You're right, Rich.
I'm sorry.
You have to have motions, yeah.
Rich, would you like to make that motion?
Yes.
Okay. Second, John? Thank you. All right. Moved and seconded that we approve the Wellsville Business Park LLC project. We will vote by roll call.
Can I ask a question on it first?
Oh, certainly.
So you mentioned that Randy was at the public hearing,
Correct.
and then, so all the taxing authorities are in favor of this, is that correct?
Well, Chad didn't oppose it, but he wasn't in favor of it. How do you put that, right, Randy? I mean,
Yeah, I think that's appropriate, the best way. Yeah, they are accepting of it.
That's the way to put it, yeah.
But not thrilled about it, in other words.
Yeah,
Well, with any pilot, nobody's thrilled about it because of the tax implications, but he understood. I guess understood is the reason, is what he said.
Thank you.
Okay, we ready to vote? Any other discussion? Okay. Judy Hopkins, aye. Randy Shaler,
abstain.
Right.
okay. Rich Yule,
Aye.
Doug Frank,
Aye.
John Ricky.
Aye.
Thank you, that is passed. Okay, the pilot deviation resolution for McCormick, New York GSG solar project.
We had a public hearing and the public was, again, the same thing. It was, they were against the fact that we're doing it after the fact, but they understood why we're doing the pilot at this time so that we can make the project viable. The real issue is at this time, McCormick's, before we go forward, wanted a LLC, which is the company wants to basically not do a 20-year pilot, which is our standard pilot, but they want to go to 25 years. We have done a number of 25-year pilots, but we have to send a deviation letter out to the taxing authorities to know that we're deviating from our standard policy of going as long as 25 years.
When you say they were opposed to it because the pilot's being done afterwards, who's they?
There was 39 people in the room, and it was the public.
So who was it?
By name, I don't have the names. Is that what you're asking?
Oh, okay, they were people from Andover though?
Yeah, there was 39 people there. They're all from Andover. They wanted to know why we're doing a pilot after the fact. They were anti-doing pilots, which is unusual, but they understood at the end of the day, I think, because we're making this a viable project. Obviously, there were some people in the room that did not care if it was a viable project or not. I'm being honest with you on that, and I'll have the full record will be transcribed and it's available on site right now if you want to listen to the discussion. So we're not voting on anything but going to changing to 20 or to a 25-year pilot. We're not voting on the pilot today. We're just voting on the length of term.
I'll make a motion, we send that letter.
Okay, is there a second to that?
What's that? To get the letter to us?
Get the letter out
Yeah.
to them, the deviation
I'll
letter.
second that.
Okay. Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion on it? Okay, that we don't have to do a roll call on.
I believe there is.
We're not voting on this.
No roll call vote on this one.
On the actual pilot deviation, yes. Okay, we'll do a roll call then. Even though I just lost the page. Okay, Judy, what's that, Rich?
Are you saying there is no roll call?
No, there is. She's doing it right
There
now.
is, I just had to get to the page.
Oh, okay, all right, yeah, okay.
Yeah, Judy Hopkins, aye. Randy Shaler,
Aye.
Rich Yule,
Aye.
Doug Frank,
Aye.
John Ricky.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you, that is unanimous. Okay, moving on. The resolution authorizing the modification to the basic documents on the Cuba Solar LLC project.
The Omni Cuba Solar project is ready to move forward. The one thing that's escalating prices it's been 3 years since we originally approved this. So it's gotten much more expensive. So this is a change in modification of the benefits. And then obviously along with that, they'll be paying a larger fee because the price of the project is, I think, probably almost double.
Is this
And all the
Omni?
taxing authorities are in favor of this, correct?
Yes, I've talked to Lee. I mean, this project is moving forward. They've already got a host agreement they're working with the new company that owns this, yes.
So is there another company other than Omni? Didn't they belly up?
The actual, yeah, it still has the Omni name in it because that's how it was started, but Omni no longer owns this
So
project.
who's backing it?
Do I know of the company? I didn't bring that in.
That's not even on here though? I mean, shouldn't that?
No, because it's the LLC. They're all operated separate companies.
Okay.
So you give it, the benefit goes to LLC, there's a company that owns the LLC. You see what I'm saying? So you're not giving the benefit to the developer who owns it, you're giving the benefit to the LLC.
Okay.
That is a good question, though. I think we should add the name of that.
Yeah,
I think it's Next Energy, but I'll find out. No, it wouldn't be in the resolution because who owns it is not. It goes to the LLC.
John Doe, they don't want their name.
Who did you think
I
it
think it's
was?
Next Energy, but I have to find out. I can get you that.
Yeah, that, and if the price of the project's going up, does that also up the price, what they have to put up for a demo bond?
Yeah, everything goes up, yeah.
So that automatically goes with it, you don't have to,
That'll be
Rewrite
in the host agreement, yes.
so it's enough to cover whatever, okay. I think it's the next step.
With the price of electricity going up, do we have any plans to look at raising the per megawatt charge that we do for the pilots?
We have to, what we should do is I'll work with the other IDA boards as well as with Dan and see if that's still something that we should bring that up as further, more than $2,500 is what you're saying.
Right.
I don't know that, but I can find out. That data is available through the EDC, which I'm going to be attending, but I'll be talking to. I know Steuben County just did a summary of all the other counties and what they're charging for pilots.
Mm-hmm.
So I can get that to the board.
So we'll have more information by the next meeting. That's a good idea.
Yeah, I should have more information on what the pilots are for other counties, so then we can look at ours and see if there should be raised, yes.
We can't do that with this one.
Has nothing to do with this one.
Okay. Okay, we need a resolution.
All right.
Uh,
Who, motion?
Thank you, John. Okay, who would like to second?
I'll say.
Thank you, Randy. Any other discussion on it? This is also a roll call vote. You ready for that? Judy Hopkins, votes aye. Randy Shaler,
Aye.
Rich Yule,
Aye.
Doug Frank,
Aye.
John Ricky.
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, and the resolution on authorizing the modification. Wait a minute. Oh, we just did that one. We're gonna, we need to approve the consultant contract for the EPA Brownfield grant. We have,
So we have, myself, Rich Yule, and Keir Durham reviewed the responses to our RFP. There was 3, and HRP was the top candidate, and so that's why they have a contract here. And the contract has been reviewed by our lawyers, and there's a few minor changes that they've been read in the document. They changed some of their terms and conditions. And once they were changed, then and there was one addition, the lawyer from Hodgkin Russ approves moving forward with this if the board does.
HRP, I don't see anywhere where that's elongated out. We worked with them before?
No.
Okay, just sounds familiar.
Now, they're a company that I know of because I know people that have worked with them, but no, we have not worked with them.
Okay. What's the big secret on what their initials stand for?
Well, it's just like CP&L does not use Clark Patterson Lee anymore, it's CP&L, they don't use the name.
Okay.
What happened is they go with whatever people recognize, and they recognize an HRP.
Yeah. Okay, any questions about that? Okay, hearing none, we're ready for
They have a motion to approve the contract.
yes.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Rich. Second by John, thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, we're ready to vote. That is not a roll call vote. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Okay, any opposed? We're unanimous. Okay,
And once, we'll have HRP into a board meetings to explain the process where we're going.
okay. All right, very good. We'll ask them what it stands for.
Yeah, I don't know what it does. I probably have it someplace.
Okay,
Google
all right, on to old business. Setting up the revolving loan fund.
I have no action. I was busy doing the Paris report, but I'll get Doug and Randy together with Jim Pierce. That was the next action item.
Okay. The LD, the local development fund.
Not much to discuss, except we'll be having a meeting after the board meeting to do our first actions to start the LDC operational.
Okay. The strategic plan, Allegheny County strategic plan.
Continue to work with Ashley. The one thing that's coming up is it'll be June 23rd at the college. There's going to be a small business event to try to engage more of the small businesses in the county to encourage them to either grow or figure out how they can possibly even sell their small businesses to other businesses. So it's going to be I'll get you more of the agenda when we refine the agenda.
Okay,
Where's it gonna be?
At Alfred State College, June 23rd. But I'll get you the actual, it'll be from 9:30 to 11:30.
okay. Can you give us any kind of an update on where the EDO actually is? Do I understand they have a board?
They have a
now?
board. I don't know who's on the board. They have a 7-member board, and they actually have been meeting, yes.
Okay, so we can kind of keep track
Yeah.
of what that process is.
And we'll make sure I'll invite Ashley to come into the next board. I always send her all of these agenda, but I'll make sure she comes in and presents to the next board.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, how about the Gateway Center, Western New York Wilds?
We continue to work on grants with the county as far as the water line and sewer. And you want to have any comment on that, on the water line? Hopefully. Okay. And Road 51, I heard the other day they're starting working on that again now. It's gotten to be warm weather, so they're doing some more road work over there. So hopefully the road will look like a road fairly soon.
Yeah, what's the finished product on that gonna look like? Is it gonna be paved or gravel or what?
No, that'll be up to pavement, but it won't pave until we're ready to actually build something
Okay.
out there. They didn't want to put the pavement in and then just have it sit.
Okay, clean energy projects.
The only thing I have to report on is the large wind turbine project is continuing to work on clearing and grubbing, and I confirmed they're potentially going to start construction this month. So,
Is it possible, we had a spreadsheet on all of the solar projects a while ago. Could we update that at some point and get that out to the board together? There are a lot of changes in the.
yeah, I'm going to change the format because
solar project.
it was almost too much information, but I'll condense it so we know which projects are actually completed, which ones are under construction, and where we are.
Okay.
I'll show you phasing.
and which ones are actually putting power out. to the
They're all
grid.
putting power out.
See, I get that all the time. Oh, this one's not.
There's only so much I can do and every developer will tell you there's power being generated because otherwise they wouldn't be making any money.
I know, but I hear, well, it's only generating one day a month. I hear.
I know you hear
stuff out
it,
there.
but
I just, be nice to have something to rebut with. I'm
Yeah.
not,
But every time, because I have to confirm for the Paris report with all these companies as to where they are, and they've all told me that they're operating.
that's a Paris report. It's like direct people to go look at that now or something. I get a whole lot.
No, I get the answer that isn't in the Paris report, but I asked them during that process and they all say they're operational.
The sun just isn't out, John.
Yeah.
We haven't had a lot of that lately.
Hey, as long as we're on this, wind power,
Sure.
yesterday at our meeting at the county, under acknowledgements, it says Weathersfield Wind Repowering Project, 60-day notice of intent to file an application with the Office of Renewable Energy. So I looked up, I Googled Weathersfield, it said Wyoming County. So I don't know if you've heard any, I don't know what this is about. Nobody at the county had it.
They continue, we get notifications, we didn't get this one, we get notifications once in a while for one from Steuben or potentially even Wyoming County. We didn't get this one. But they do notify the adjacent counties of
Is
what's
that
going
just
on.
normal operating? They just,
Yeah.
okay, I was just wonder if there's a new one coming here, but.
No, it has nothing to do with us, but it's interesting how we still get some of those. It depends on whether or not they send it to everybody or not. I don't know why they have to. I can ask Dan.
Yeah, that was just the first time I've seen any of that come.
Yeah, because I know Wyoming County's at the point where a lot of those, like you said, are repowering. They're putting new turbines in them. Which means,
Yeah, that's what it,
which basically means they start a new pilot.
oh, that's, okay. All right. Thank you.
Okay, well, that'll be a while.
And a new fee structure,
Yeah. Imagine that.
so.
Okay, we just had 2 items left on our agenda, the Great Lakes Cheese Cuba facility.
Just wanted to let everybody know we continue to work with Great Lakes Cheese on, and at this point, their auction has been completed. Quite a bit of the equipment's already moved out of the facility. And we'll be talking to Matt, continuing to talk to Matt about the process after they actually leave the facility. So we're talking, discussions about what's gonna happen in the facility later.
Okay. And the Brownfield grant.
I just left it on here. We've already just did the contract. The next step will be forming a committee in the county. If anybody's interested, we're gonna have to form a committee. It'll be including planning department, the land bank, probably some other people that are interested in development of some of the brownfields in the county. But we have to form a committee to basically help the HRB in their process of doing that grant. So
When does
we'll have
that
we'll have HRB in the next meeting, so we can do
Oh,
something.
okay, good. Okay, that concludes the old business. Any new business?
My only new business is we are in process of trying to hire a person, an assistant director. And I do have 6 resumes from Indeed already. I have not got resumes from the other places we posted it yet. Barb was asking me this morning, but I would guess in the next 2 or 3 weeks, we'll probably double that, maybe up to 10 or 12 resumes. And I will need to have somebody to assist us in reviewing all those resumes. So I don't know if you want to have a committee or if you want to send it to the board. I just need to know process what you want to do on the resumes.
Okay. Board, what do you feel on that?
Probably ought to narrow it down to 2 or 3, right, and then do some interviews, I don't know.
What?
Maybe 1 or 2 people on an interview committee.
That's it.
right.
We need to want to have
I don't know, what do you think?
no more than 2 because then we have to have public meetings, but yeah. 1 or 2.
Yeah.
So we're at this stage.
I don't know, that's just, we don't have to do it that way, we can interview everybody, that's just my idea.
Yeah, I think, well, we need to get it down to at least no more than 2 or 3 interviews. You don't want to interview 12 people.
Right.
And 12 aren't interested. I can tell you, of the 6 we have, there's probably 2 or 3 you might want to talk to.
I'm willing to help narrow that down. Is there someone else that would also want to be a part of that? Okay, wow, we got a lot of noise
Everybody's
there.
excited about it.
Well, I can work with Judy to narrow it down, and then when we get to the top 2 or 3 candidates, we can send them out to the board.
Okay.
Because we're not gonna have more than 2 or 3 top candidates, I can tell you.
Let me ask this, does the board want to interview 2 or 3 candidates as a board? Do you want to all be a part of that?
I don't think so, I think we should
No.
get 1 or 2 people, so it's not a open meeting,
Right. I agree, and I
you
think,
know.
and we would want to do more than likely the first set of, when I'm used to doing interviews is actually on a Teams format and then bring people in.
Yeah.
Then there's a recording and everybody can actually see it then. I think that works well.
Okay, well, we'll proceed. We'll wait for the final. Is there a date that you have, a cutoff date?
No,
Okay,
I just said we'd start
Oh.
reviewing them at the end of the month.
okay, all right. So
So hopefully we'll have maybe even some candidates by the next board meeting to discuss.
Okay,
I'll work with Judy on that.
Do we have a job description?
Yes,
We
we
do.
actually approved it. Yeah.
Okay.
okay. Any
They
other?
walk on water, Randy.
But only 1 foot at a time. They have to follow you.
You mean the kid flying? Come on, let's
Okay,
modern age here.
we ought to get ready so we
Yeah.
can talk to Ed and do our LDC meeting, because we got
Okay,
one board member wants to leave.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
thank you.
Second.
Okay, thank you. Moved and seconded, we adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are finished with that.
So then we need to open up the local development corporation meeting next.
Yep.
Which is still broadcast.
Okay,
If you see the agenda, there are no minutes, no executive session, no treasurer's report. And at this time, we have to have,
There's an executive session on there.
okay, but I'm saying there is, I always put it on there, but I don't think there is an executive session if you want one.
Okay.
okay, so, we'll call that meeting to order. There are no minutes, all the things that Craig just said, put that in the minutes.
And we have,
With the organization, we're really down to the action items, organizational resolution.
and Edmund's on here, he's the one that helped
Hi,
organize this,
Thank you
so
thank you for your patience.
if you want to take us through the organizational resolution and why we have to include the, conflict of interest, yes.
Oh, yeah, sure. Happy to. Yeah, so as this is your first meeting, we do an organizational resolution, which is, I believe you all have, which basically, when you formed, you had what's called an incorporator, so you basically ratifying the actions of the incorporator. You'll approve bylaws and a conflict policy. We included the conflict policy here. You can also have your conflict policy in your bylaws. In this context, you do not, so we'll do it separately. But in order to apply for 501c3 status with the IRS, you'll need to have a conflict policy. So we're doing that right away. So that's why that's at the forefront here. Then you'll appoint your officers, which match up with the IDA. So the idea here is that they're going to have mirror officers. Next, the application for the EIN, which I believe you already have. So basically, it's just a ratification of that. Allowing for registration for the 501c3 status. Establishing your fiscal year as December 31, which I assume is what we would match with the IDA. And then authorizing bank accounts. Those who will be signers on the bank accounts. And then if you need more than one signature, it will be for checks greater than 20,000. Though I don't know how often that happens or what your current policy is with the IDA. We can always just change that here if needed.
Yeah, we currently have a two sign all checks.
All checks, okay.
I missed that, I apologize, but yeah, to be consistent, that's what we do right now.
Okay,
And the only other question is it's typically the treasurer who signs the checks.
I have a question. I'm not an officer.
Right.
We have the 4 officers mentioned. Then on Article 2, it says any additional members of the agency so appointed. Do I have to be appointed to this, or am I automatically on this because I'm an IDA member?
Just because you're an IDA member, the way the bylaws are drafted.
That's right.
Yep.
You'd be
Okay,
on there.
thank you.
I had a question about the very last sentence on the conflict of interest. I think it's a 3-page exhibit under section 7B. Can you just explain that, please?
Sure.
I read it, but I just couldn't make any sense of it.
And the miscellaneous provisions you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay, so-
Where it says compensation pursuant. to
Yep. Oh, this was added because there was a certain IDAs which basically incentivize their executive director to go out and get more business. And if they got more business in the door, they got a bigger bonus at the end of the day. And this is basically stating that just because you have more business coming through the door, that you won't be compensating the executive director for that. There won't be a tie between the bonus that the executive director gets and the number of businesses that come through the door.
I don't know why that's necessary on here, but I mean, if you're our attorney, so if you think it's necessary, then I'll obviously go along with that.
Yeah, the state, the comptroller had a bunch of issues with a couple of.
Okay.
So that's why we put this in here now, to make it explicit, where before it was more implicit, and then some IDAs didn't follow the niceties, so.
Okay, thanks. And then I just point out, Barb, you'll have to post our conflict of interest law in your office, it looks like, under
Okay.
section 6.
So the only other thing on the result, on this resolution, we can change it now, I would guess, is we want to add Randy, or not Randy, Doug as the treasurer, because he's the one that typically signs. And then
Okay.
we also have all checks are basically, I and the treasurer sign all the checks.
Okay.
And we want to just be consistent, because otherwise we'll forget to do something.
So I've added, and I can recirculate this,
All right,
Doug as treasurer.
Doug Francis is the
Signer,
treasurer. Right. And I always co-sign them all, so that I check them all.
Okay, I'll add your name.
Okay. Do we
Okay.
need,
I've done.
can we approve this as a entire unit, or do we have to do anything separately?
You just want just one resolution, right?
Correct, yep, one resolution with multiple actions, so you can do it in one vote.
Okay, would you like to just state what that resolution is gonna be, Ed? For the benefit of our
Sure,
people who are gonna be,
it'll be an organizational resolution for the Allegheny County Local Development Corporation. And then I'll go through each one, approving the actions of the incorporator, approving the forum bylaws, approving forum conflict policy, approving the appointment of officers as listed in the resolution, approving the application for an EIN, approving an application for tax exemption and registration with the Charities Bureau, which is New York State, by the way, approving a fiscal year ending December 31, and authorizing the opening of bank accounts with those listed as authorized signer, and requiring signatures of 2 and the name of persons for any checks.
okay. Who would like to make that motion?
I will move it.
Thank you, John.
Whatever he said.
Can you repeat it, please?
Whatever he said.
Can John repeat?
We're seeing if John can repeat what you just said.
Please.
Barb may want.
We're a little punchy. We've been in here for 2 hours, so.
As long as it's online.
Yeah, as long as it
Right.
comes through.
Review
Well, you
it.
just go through all these,
So
list all those.
Okay, John has made this courageous motion. Who would like to second it?
I'll second.
Thank you, Randy. Okay, it's been moved and seconded what Ed said. And any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
And that is unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Ed. Thank you for repeating that. and,
Thank you, Amy.
working
If
on
I,
that.
if I may, Chair,
Yeah,
just wanted to talk briefly about the application with the IRS.
Yeah.
The application process, when we submit it, besides submitting a copy of the bylaws and the conflict policy, we'll also be providing them a statement of proposed, because you don't have any income and expenses. So we'll work with Craig to get those numbers together and submit it in the application. And generally, it takes 4 to 6 months to hear back from the IRS. Unfortunately, we are finding now the time periods are more like 6 to 9 to even 12 months, depending on the application. And so the timing is going to be, it's definitely probably going to be at least 6 months before we hear back from the IRS.
was that timeframe established recently or before everything happening in the federal government? Do you anticipate longer?
The issue, this issue actually arose recently, but it was actually with the prior administration as well. So it is, but I think it's being exacerbated by recent conditions. But no, they've just been very, very slow. I've been doing this 25 years, and it usually took 3 to 6 months. 6 months was the high end. Usually got back in 3 months when I formed one of these LDCs. Nowadays, it's taking more like 9 months to a year.
So
Well, maybe they'll all be back in the office and be back to work now, and we'll be able to get it a little quicker.
Let's go, fingers crossed.
So do we have to hold up anything for that time period, or are we good to go?
So you can still operate, and when you do get the exemption, which I don't anticipate any issues, knock on wood, because we've done this multiple times for multiple IDAs throughout the state. It dates back to the date of your formation, so whichever is November. So your exemption will be retroactive essentially.
Okay, all right, good to know that, thank you.
Thank you, I appreciate your
Okay.
patience.
Yes, thank you. Nice to meet everyone. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Okay, I think we can adjourn the LDC. Thank you, John. Second by Doug. Doug needs sleep. All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay, that is closed. And we are moving on to the ACU